Hello everyone, my name is Heather and welcome back to the channel Bookables. Today I'm here to talk about some romances that I love and adore that I sadly think are underrated. It's no secret a lot of books get hyped up, get talked about on BookTube, Book Talk, Bookstagram, you get what I'm saying, but sometimes we read some books that we think deserve more love, and the books I'm talking about today I think deserve a little bit more love, and they're all within the romance genre. So I have a few, so let's go ahead and begin. First up, one that I talk about constantly because it's one of my favorite books and it's one of my favorite romance books that is sadly, I don't think, gets the hype it deserves, and that is Kiss My Cupcake by Helena. I always talk about it, but I yet still don't own a physical copy. I should probably remedy that soon. But I love this one, especially if you love like baking aspects with books, you need to check this one out. This one follows two characters, Ronan and Blair. Blair is opening up her very own cupcake and kind of booze shop, and she saved all of her life for it. And next door, another person, Ronan, is opening up like kind of a bar, like a hatchet throwing type of man's man type of thing. And they get off immediately on the wrong foot. They compete who can get the best business. It's a hate to love romance, and it is just so much fun. I love it. Definitely one of my favorite romances that I don't think gets nearly enough love. Like, I think people would love it. I really do, because it's got a lot of great elements. The enemies to lovers, the baking aspect, you know, it's just great. It's a little bit of steamy, not overly steamy. I really enjoyed it. Would highly recommend it. Another one that is a recent read that I think maybe some people will read it, but I don't know if it's gonna get like hyped or anything. That is The Love Wager by Lynn Painter. If you hear anything, that is my daughter because she can take a nap. This is one that came out recently. This is an author that also has written some YA books, but this is one of her newest adult romances. This follows two characters named Halle and Jack, and basically one night they kind of hook up, and for Halle that's kind of like a last ditch, like, I need to change my life, change my trajectory. So she's like, I'm gonna find the one, I'm gonna change my life. She gets on this dating app, and who does she see on it but the guy she hooked up with, Jack, and they start talking, and they're like, look, they're both trying to change their life and find the one, so they get like this competition of who can find the one first. And of course, at each kind of failed date they go on, they end up together at like a taco bar after, and it's just very fun. It's clearly, you can see where the plot's going a mile away, but it was still really great. Again, this is a little bit steamy, not overly steamy. I'll let you know if they are, but I really enjoyed it, and I could see a lot of people liking it again, but I haven't heard a lot of people talk about it. Next up is an author that is pretty well known, but I read this book a long time ago and still have yet to hear a ton of people talk about it, and that is Things You Save in the Fire by Katherine Center. This is my third or fourth book I've read by her. Either way, it's my favorite. It's probably the only one I own by her because I just love it so much. So this is about a character named Cassie who is a firefighter, and she has to move, basically, where does she move to? Boston, to take care of her mom that she really does not have a good relationship with. And of course, when she goes to Boston, she goes to the fire station, and it's all men, and they're very macho and kind of sexist, and she's like, I have to prove my ranks again. And she gets paired a lot with this rookie, and of course things start happening with them. But this is amazing. This is more than romance. It's got a lot of familial relationships in it. It's a great one. I don't hear it talked about a ton. I would almost label this kind of as women's fiction, but still really good. Easily my favorite Katherine Center book by far. Next up is another one that I've talked a lot about. That is Reborn Yesterday by Tessa Bailey. Tessa Bailey is not underhyped by any means. When you hear about romance books, you will hear about Tessa Bailey a lot. She was really steamy books. Her books are very popular, with good reason. I enjoy them. They're great popcorn books in my opinion. Like, they're just quick and fun. But Reborn Yesterday, I love, and I feel like it's definitely one of her underrated books. This one is self-published. Some of her books are still self-published. Sometimes she works with Avon Books, but this one is self-published. And I read this because it's all about vampires, and we all know how far my obsession goes back with vampires. So this one follows two characters named Ginny and Jonas. Ginny is a mortician. Her father owns this funeral parlor, and her father passes away, so it's just her and her stepmom kind of. And basically one night she is about to embalm a body, and what do you know, the body wakes up and it is Jonas. And of course things happen from there. He's a vampire, and it is steamy and it is fun. Is it really practical and explains things? Not at all, but I loved it. If you love vampires and if you love steam, this series is the one for you. Reborn Yesterday is my favorite. It's got that kind of twist on fated love and all that kind of stuff. I love it. It's got the mate thing. If you're a fan of the mates, you know, with when you see somebody, it's like mating. You know those books. I loved it. This is a Tessa Bailey book that does not get nearly enough talked about as it should. I freaking loved it. How to Fail at Flirting is a book I read in 2020 that I read totally on a whim and I fell in love with. This is by Denise Williams and I believe it's her debut novel. I really enjoyed it. This is about a character named Naya who is a professor and she does not really take a lot of chances in her love life. So when her friends kind of ask her, you know, take a chance, hit on somebody at the bar, she does. And it ends up becoming more than a one-night stand, but much more relationship. And he gets involved in her work life. And it's just a beautiful love story. Naya is also suffering, Naya is also dealing with some kind of PTSD from her last relationship that was emotionally abusive, and she's trying to learn how to figure out love and navigate love. It's a beautiful book that is a great romance novel that, again, I hear like no one talk about it, so I would highly recommend checking this one out. Looking for a cute, fun read that's perfect for spring, honestly. The Royals Next Door by Karina, Halle is a great one. I picked this one up at Target because the cover, yes, cover drew me in. This is about a character named Piper who was an elementary school teacher, and she lives on like this small island. I have no clue where. It's just an island in the US somewhere. I don't know. And it's very secluded, and she kind of lives in like this guest house, and next to her is this huge mansion. One day who should move into this huge mansion is like these royals. Like imagine Prince Harry and Meghan pretty much. And she's like, what the heck? And she kind of sees their bodyguard. No. And then she sees their bodyguard and they maybe start a love-hate relationship. And it was fun. Was this like amazing? No, but it's a fun romance novel that's just, it's got the small town element, it's got the hate to love, it's kind of got that secret relationship because he's a bodyguard and he shouldn't be with, you know, kind of a local, but it was a fun one that's perfect for spring that I don't hear a lot of people talk about. Obviously, I'm going to say that all the time, and that's obviously the whole tone of this video. Next up is A Lot Like Aidios by Alexis Daria. This is my second book by her, and I loved it. If you love second chance romances, this is the book for you. So in this book, again, we follow two characters, Michelle and Gabriel. And basically, they were best friends growing up. They maybe started to feel something at the very end of high school, and then like the next day after that happens, Gabriel just kind of disappears. Now, how many years has it been? It's been like maybe 15 years or so. Now he's back in town and he's trying to open up this new business, like to expand it. And he needs Michelle's help because she's like a marketer extraordinaire. And so she's like, yes, I'll help you, but you have to stay at the same house I'm staying that we used to grow up in. And we're going to talk about what happened, like why we haven't talked in so long. Like, why have we Why have we not communicated? Like, you're going to tell me why you left me. And I loved it. Again, it's got great familiar relationships. It's got the great second chance romance vibes that I love. It's got the childhood, like friends to lovers. I highly recommend it. Awesome. Next up, if you just want an ooey gooey, really cute book, that is Very Sincerely Yours by Kerry Winfrey, another book that I talk about a lot. I compare this to kind of You've Got Mail. If you love You've Got Mail, chances are you'll probably really like this book. This is about two characters, Teddy and I forget her name because I don't own the physical copy because I'm horrible. Basically, our main character, she, at the very beginning of this book, gets broken up with. And she does not know what to do with herself because she put her whole identity in this relationship. Like, she cooked, she cleaned, you know, she didn't have any friends. So when he broke up with her, she was like, I don't know who I am anymore. She moves back in with her best friends, and there she kind of starts watching like this kind of kids program. Like, imagine like Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood, but also like Jim Henson kind of way, with this guy named Teddy who is the host of it, and he has puppets and stuff. And she's like, you know what? I'm just going to email this guy to ask for advice about life because, you know, why not? And so basically they start an email conversation. She also works at a vintage toy store, which I thought was really, really fun. And they go on from there, they meet in real life, and it's just so adorable. Kerry Winfrey writes closed door romances, so they're all clean in case you don't want any steam in them, but It's just ooey gooey, cheesy love romance that I adore. Definitely my favorite Kerry Winfrey book by far. I love it. It's got the You've Got Mail. It's got like kind of the Mr. Rogers thing going on with it. It's got a vintage toy store. Like, have I sold you on it yet? And the last book I want to talk about is Girl Gone Viral by Alicia Rye. This is part of her series. I want to say it's the Right Swipe series. It's actually a second book in it. You do not need to read them all in order. You can pick and choose which ones. And this one by far is my favorite. This one follows Katrina, who is trying to stay off of social media because of just threats she's had in the past. And basically one day she's at a coffee shop. She strikes up a conversation with this guy there, and I guess people are watching and they start live tweeting it, like hoping they'll get together. And she is pretty shocked about it because she's like, I don't want to be on social media. And she's like, I don't want the person who kind of I'm hiding from to find it. And so her bodyguard whisks her off to like his hometown where he is, he has a peach farm. Like his family owns a peach farm and runs it. Like, that's amazing. And of course, what goes on from there is the bodyguard has had feelings for her for so long, and it's just, again, a super sweet romance that I love and adore. Like, he is the central role of a character. Highly recommend it. So there you have some of my favorite underrated romance reads. I would seriously love if you give any one of these a try and let me know your thoughts on them, if you enjoyed them or not. And you know, maybe you don't think they're underrated. To me, I think they're underrated. Like, when I don't see these books a lot on Instagram, Book Talk, BookTube, you know what I'm saying? So I want to see them more. I would love to know what romance reads that you've read that you would consider vastly underrated. Please leave them in the comments below. As always, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in my next video. Bye.